HMRC tax checks are coming our way, and the question is, are you exposed? Now, whether you've received a letter or not, this affects ordinary people, and that's, side hustlers, landlords, and even small business owners. So I'm going to tell you what's happening, how HMRC are finding people, and how you can protect yourself if the spotlight moves your way. Now, this isn't random. It's systematic data matching followed by a relatively polite letter with a typical 30-day timer for you to respond. Now, they've joined the dots from platforms, companies' house, banks, letting agents, and even point of sale systems. And in most cases, they just cross-reference that with your specific data. So your national insurance number, your address, bingo. They know they've got the right person. Now, most letters will say something along the line of, we think you have undeclared taxes or income relating to X, Y, or Z, and you need to check your position. Now, that type of line is designed to get you worried, make you guess, and kind of rack your brains to piece it all together. Now, don't get me wrong. If you purposely avoided tax, yeah, HMRC need measures. But their current approach is en masse, and it's flagging everyday people just trying to get by as tax dodgers. The problem is that HMRC is targeting what is messy admin as tax evasion. They're making ordinary people feel like criminals for having that imperfect paperwork or not really fully understanding the rules. And what's bad is that HMRC themselves can barely get their own house in order. So HMRC have been quietly building an army of compliance officers, and it's around about 400 to be exact. And these officers are designed to squeeze out every penny of the hardworking people like you. And for kind of context here, they've already netted 1.5 billion from targeting the wealthy individuals back in 2024. And off the back of that success, they're now coming for the rest of us. And where my frustration kind of stems from this is that they're not going after these massive corporations with these armies of lawyers. They're coming after ordinary people. Why? Because we're easier targets. Now, this isn't a distant threat. This is happening right now. We've already analyzed HMRC's data, and we've already helped out hundreds of people who have been on the receiving end. So this starts with the sending out of what people call, or what they call, a nudge letter. Is basically a fishing expedition to see who they can catch out. And this year alone, they targeted letters about everything from online marketplace to directors' loans, temporary non-residents, capital gains tax errors, and the list does go on. They're casting a wider net than ever before. Now, a key takeaway here is that this is systematic. They're not just randomly picking businesses or what they might think is classed as a business. They do have a relatively sophisticated data matching system. They know about all your Amazon sales, your eBay transactions, those property rentals, and in 2026, likely all your crypto gains. Now, they're cross-referencing everything. Those recent nudge letters, which include those online marketplace sales, which, they know you've earned income, but you haven't declared it. Directors who had those loans written off, but haven't declared it. And that income property, landlords who knew they were receiving that rental income, but didn't declare it. Even delivery drivers, for example, who aren't on PAYE. And at this stage, they're not asking if you've got undeclared income. They're telling you, we know, and you have to declare it. So now here is why I think that this is just the beginning, and why every business owner and every side hustler or even an individual needs to be relatively worried, because they've proven the model works with the high net individuals, right? 1.5 billion collected. That's a massive success in their eyes. But the reality check here is wealthy individuals have sophisticated advisors, they have accountants, they have tax lawyers, and they've got greater protection. Small business owners and individuals, we are sitting ducks. I genuinely believe that we're looking at a fundamental shift in how HMRC operates. In the next 1 to 5 years, I predict it will become completely normal for every business to face compliance checks more regularly. Every single tax, when it comes to VAT, PAYE, corporation tax, your personal tax affairs, ultimately, they're going to link it all together. And think about the numbers here. There are about 5 to 6 million companies in the UK. Around 90% of those are small businesses with fewer than 20 employees. That's millions of easy targets for HMRC to investigate. And while the big corporations can move their money around, hire the best advisors and fight back, small businesses and individuals just can't. It's low-hanging fruit, and of course, HMRC are going to go after those first. Now, as a quick heads up, if you want to complete HMRC compliance check guide, including the exact documents you'll need to have ready when the questions do come, what they're likely going to ask. I put together a free guide. The link is in the description, so grab it before they come knocking, preferably. So let's talk about exactly kind of how they're operating now, because they have moved beyond those random checks. This is kind of data-driven targeting, and it's at its worst. So they're using what they call one-to-many letters, which all it really means is they're sending out thousands of identical letters to individuals and business owners who fit a certain profile. Now, they're not always going to be investigating you personally. You're just part of, a bulk of mailing lists of suspected undeclared tax entities. Now, again, some of the recent campaigns they targeted, some security businesses about supply chain fraud, estate agents about anti-money laundering compliance, gas safe engineers who aren't registered for self-assessments. They're building out profiles. And if you are in certain industries, if you have certain transaction patterns, if your business structure looks a certain way, you are more likely to be on their radar. So here's the sneaky part. The letters aren't always formal inquiries. They're informal approaches to encourage compliance. Now, they can sound friendly, but don't be fooled, because if you don't respond properly, if you don't take action in the right way within that deadline, that's when the gloves come off. And that's when HMRC will capitalize. So this is where it can get more personal for many watching this, because what has started with, the targeting those millionaires, is trickling down very fast, basically. They've already moved from those high net worth individuals to persons with significant control. That's anyone who owns more than 25% of a company, which means most small business owners, we could be on their radar. They're sending out letters to directors about loans, to online sellers about this marketplace income, to property owners about that rental declaration. And like I said, the net is getting wider and wider. So they're getting more aggressive with it. So what does this all mean for you? Now, first, don't panic, but do be prepared, because whether you like it or not, your turn might be coming. Now, the people or the businesses that will suffer the most are the ones that aren't prepared. The ones with those messy records, those questionable expense claims, cash transactions they can't properly document. HMRC knows this, and they're counting on it. Now, when they come for you, if they do, you do need to be ready. If you're scrambling around trying to find receipts, invoices, if your accountancy software isn't up to date, if you can't basically clearly explain every transaction, that's when they dig deeper. And they're going to dig deeper than ever before. Now, if you run your business or your side gig like you're going to be investigated tomorrow, because increasingly more people will, your record keeping needs to be decent, right? Your receipts, invoices, bank transactions need to be documented, and it's better if it's categorized properly. Software like Xero or QuickBooks, it isn't, to be honest, optional anymore for most small businesses. It is essential protection. And if you haven't got a proper accountant and you probably need one, well, just get one. There's not just someone who files your returns, but someone who understands what they're actually doing, who knows HMRC, how they operate, who can stand between you and them if they do come knocking. All right. So if I shed a little bit of light on why this really strikes a nerve with me, is because it's the cost to genuine business owners and to people. It's the time, it's the stress, it's the expense of having to prove you're honest when you've done and are doing nothing wrong. The time you spend gathering documents for HMRC is time you're not growing your business. Every pound you spend on accountants and advisors to defend yourself is money that you could be investing into your company, right? And for what? So HMRC can squeeze a bit more tax out of the economy. They're not creating wealth by doing this. It would appear they're trying to destroy it. They're making it harder and more expensive for people to run a business, an honest business, in the UK. So what do you actually need to do? So first, I would say get your house in order. Make sure whatever it is you're doing, every transaction in your business is properly recorded. Use proper accounting software and do keep it up to date. Scan and store receipts, every invoice, basically any bit of documentation, because if they ask for it or when they ask for it, you need to be able to produce it instantly. If you are claiming expenses, which you're going to be as a business, but make sure they are legitimate and properly documented. Don't try and push through personal expenses or anything questionable. It's not worth the risk anymore, basically. And, if you need one, get a proper accountant, ideally a chartered accountant, someone who understands tax and savings compliance, understands HMRC and the investigations that they are constantly pulling. Because You don't want to be learning these kind of things the hard way when you're already under investigation. You should also review your business structure. Are you taking out money as loans that should be salary or dividends? Are you properly accounting for all your income streams as an individual? You know, sort it out now before they come asking. And most importantly, don't think this won't happen to you, because based on everything that I'm seeing, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, if you fall on that radar, right? We have dealt already with hundreds of cases relating to undeclared online income, and they keep coming in daily. And the thing is, this is working for HMRC. They're getting a good cash grab out of it. So why would they stop? So the writing is on the wall here. HMRC have found a successful formula for extracting money from large numbers of everyday taxpayers, and they are scaling it up. Individuals and small business owners are next in line, and we need to be ready. But here's another problem that's related and is coming down the line very soon. And I'm sure a lot of business owners haven't even got a clue about it yet. It's HMRC's new making tax digital requirements, and they are about to get a lot more demanding. If you think compliance is tough now, wait until you see what's coming next, and we'll cover that again very soon.